Hey, hi everyone. Welcome to my channel, Grow with Shantanu. So today we are inviting our special guest, Mr. Coach Rakesh Verma. So the coach Rakesh Verma is having experience of more than 25 years working with different multinational companies, and he worked with the different leadership roles as well. He has been helping the business to build from scratch, and he has been also helping the individuals and professionals to grow and to achieve their goals. Mr. Rakesh Verma is the ICF certified coach, a Techno MBA, and NLP practitioner and a mindfulness trainer as well. He has been helping the people, individuals and professionals in growing and succeed in their life. So in this podcast, we are going to bring all his 25 years of experience. We are going to discuss about all the leadership challenges, and we're going to discuss about how to be a productive in your personal and professional life. Watch till end and keep supporting. Thank you.
Hi, Mr. Rakesh. If you can, you being the full-time coach, and can you tell me any particular instance where you have seen that the self-doubt in your leaders is impacting an organization?
Yeah, thank you, Shantanu. So, as you said, now I'm into full-time professional coaching and mentoring, and I have been into large multinational as a senior leadership profile. So I manage large team. I've gone through this leadership journey for almost 25 years. I've seen myself, and for the people who were in the leadership profile, we also got into this self-doubt. So when I say self-doubt, it is not only matter of having impact on the organization. Actually, it is having impact on the various stakeholders. When I say various stakeholders, where one is yourself, then comes within the organization, people like team reporting to you, cross-function management to whom you are reporting, or the promoters. And if you talk about stakeholders from the external point of view, your clients, your customers, your partners, your investors, So basically, there are three ways, where stakeholders are, impacted. So what happens, where you are in a self-doubt as a leader, somewhere you start showing off those signs to the people. And people around you start feeling confused. There's ambiguity. They feel directionless. There can be a case of disengagement or demotivation. So that's a very important thing. And specifically from the external stakeholder point of view, somewhere they start doubting stability of the organization, because for them stability of the organization or leadership is very, very important. So basically, it leads to the erosion of trust among all these people. That is the one thing which happen. Number two, what happens, when you have self-doubt, somewhere you become short-sighted. So when I say as a leader, you work on day-to-day work, short-term work, and you work on a long-term vision. But now you are in a survival mode, you have a self-doubt, somewhere that long-term vision goes for the toss. So that firefighting kind of a thing starts happening. Number three, when you are in self-doubt, you stop experimenting. You stop taking decisions. And what happens when people are not taking decisions on time? It has huge impacts. There are a lot of bottlenecks, and the workflow of the project or any targets you have taken, that gets hampered. Number four, what happens? You start getting into a silo kind of a thing. You stop engaging with people too much, and it's very important, as a leader, communication, engagement with your team, cross-function and management, or maybe the external stakeholder is very much required. But then, you kind of become reserved. So what happens again, because of that lack of communication engagement, process hamper, lack of relationship, trust, all those things happen. And as I said, because there is a less of focus on the long-term vision or long-term work, so this also impacts creativity and innovation. So that really does not happen.
So, as per your experience of taking the lot of issues from a lot of the people's, lot of clients actually so far, a lot of leaders, I would say, right, from the like organizations, and you have worked with like Fortune 500 also, and you have worked for the established startups also. Do you really also think that this like self doubt also impacts the team performance for the it affects the whole team performance, not even just the organization, it affects the the productivity of the team, and also the newcomers who has been coming as an and working for that leader and reporting to that leader. That also like affects a lot.
Yeah, definitely. I already said that it has a huge impact. If you ask me, the first people who get impacted is the people who are directly involved with you, who are your direct reportees.
Right. True.
Because people always look forward to leaders. I'm not saying that it's like a spoon feeding. They look forward to their leaders. Where a lot of discussion happens. Lot of concerns are discussed. And they got lot of guidance and all those things. And because now the leader itself is in a self doubt, so the first people who got impacted, who get impact, are the people who are directly reporting to you. And I'd like to also give you, some situational example on this.
So
So they can, I'm just giving you two example. So let's say, you have taken up in an organization as a CEO or maybe as a business head. So let's say what happens, they see that, the new CEO or a business head is in a self-doubt. So again, the first people who will get impacted is the people who are going to report to you. They will get a huge impact on that. They will not feel a confidence that how this person will give us the direction. There will be a disengagement. And obviously, when a new business head or new CEO comes, all the external holders has a huge impact. And in fact, what happens sometimes when you go as a CEO, as a new business head, there are a lot of new changes has to be implemented. But now because they don't believe you, that implementation of new changes, new drive will also not happen. Number two situation is also, I have also realized that in leadership role or in the organizations, there are a lot of challenging time comes. That's a part of journey. So when there are challenging time going on, that point of time, if leader is in self-doubt, then it again becomes a very
very true.
problematic. Because at that particular time, it's a testing time. You have to do a lot of changes. You have to do a lot of experimentation. You have to really handle people actually in the challenging time. But now because you're already on your self-doubt, you're in a survival mode, then have a huge impact overall point of view.
Great knowing your I mean your experience so far in this. I'd like to understand also, and also I'd like you to tell my audience, if somebody is facing this issue in current days, and the people who have been watching our uh, like our podcast, so what are the few things you wanted to share with them from your experience that they should do like then and there to resolve this conflicts and to resolve these issues?
Yeah, actually, it's an excellent question which you have asked actually.
Thank you.
So yeah, my pleasure. So first thing is to it's called self-reflection. Or let me put it like this, don't run away from the situation. Acknowledge that you are having a self-doubt. And it becomes very important to take a pause. Maybe in a silence space, maybe with yourself. And just find out what is going on. You can do it by noting in your mind, or maybe best thing is to do a journaling. So accept that you are going through self-doubt. Number two, be very clear. Having self-doubt is not a problem. It's not a weakness. It can happen to anybody.
Okay.
But the point is that you accept it and then you start working how to get out of it. So that is the first thing is to do a self-reflection. Note down, what are the reasons, what are the factors, which are causing a self-doubt on you. Number two, what you can do when you have noted that down, you can also bifurcate. Which are the things which are under your control and which are the things you may need a support from other people to come out of that situation. So there will be many things you will find that at your own end itself, you are not taking some actions which you can take yourself. Which maybe you are not engaging with people, you have stop interacting with people, all those things, because that is all in your hand. And some things you will find that, you need external support. So
Okay.
first thing you do a self-reflection, then you do a journaling, you note it down, bifurcate what is in your hand and where you need a external support. Number two, then look out for a support. So do not be, ashamed or be afraid of taking support of other people, even if you are in a senior leadership profile. Now there can be a two kind of support. One you can get within your organization, maybe with your peer, maybe from your management, the people whom you are reporting to, and where you have a confidence. Maybe you can trust them, where you can go and express fully.
Okay.
Now, if you are in a situation that you don't want to do that for some reason, then maybe you also look for external support, which can be a support of a professional coach or a mentor.
Okay.
I think that is very important to seek for a support. Don't run away from that. So these are the two things which really plays important role. Third is work on your self care. When I talk about self care, it can be in terms of managing your own emotions, managing your inner self, doing some exercise, doing some meditations. If you're already doing it, is good. If you're not doing it, maybe incorporate in your day-to-day life. It becomes very important, because what happens in our own hectic life, we may go to gym. Gym may take care of our physical aspect, but what about our inner self? Because the problem is from the inner, not
Of
from an
course. Of
external
course.
point of view.
So, yeah.
So do really work on that.
Okay. That's really is going to be a very good like this strategy for the leaders to use it and implement it, and to help their team also and to their organizations also, because if they can use it, then they are going to, I mean, not so they are not going to help even themselves, but to the people who are reporting to them, and also to the organizations, to the productivity, and also the development of an organization as well. Thank you so much for this insightful experience.
My pleasure.
Okay, so Mr. Rakesh, if you can tell me why a constructive feedback is important in an organization. What is the role of for the constructive feedback for everybody in the organization?
If you ask me, constructive feedback is the backbone of it's like a positive kind of a communication between you and your team. So I'll give you a few examples.
Yeah.
What happens in the organization normally, we set up system processes, because we put up long-term goal, short-term goal for the people, and it becomes very important to do handholding, to do review and monitoring. And for that, normally different kind of frequency is set. It can be your weekly, monthly, quarterly, half yearly, or kind of a yearly review meetings.
Okay.
And this is where or maybe sometime one basis also you meet people to give feedback. And role of feedback becomes very important for the progression of the organization. So if I have to give you one particular situation, so let's say you are having a review meeting where you are reviewing the performance of your team. So you have just completed the quarter and you are doing the review of the performance. And let's say performance had not been as per the expectation, or maybe as it was not planned.
Yeah.
What can happen? One kind of a feedback in the meeting. Let's say there are 20 people sitting in the meeting. The people who are reporting to you, maybe some people are directly and some people are cross-functional people. Because in the review meetings, cross-functional people also comes into the picture. So one feedback would be like, all of you people have not done a good job. You people are useless. I think I need to find somebody else. That is one kind of a feedback.
Okay.
And this is called, it's a very personalized kind of a feedback you are given to a person. It's like you are directly hitting to the people, to their core basically. Now it can be a one-off case where you want to deliberately do it, but 99% it is not the right way of doing it.
Okay.
So that is one situation, that kind of a way where you are directly telling people that you are useless. It goes to their heart. Number two way could be, you can say performance is horrible. I don't know what to discuss about this horrible performance. Now you're not saying directly to the people, but somewhere indirectly you are again pinpointing the people. And obviously people are responsible. I'm not saying that people are not responsible. Third way of doing is that you may say that performance is not good, and I think you people have to really do something different, and then you close it. It is little better, but again not complete, because what is happening? You are saying that performance is not good. You need to do better, but you have not gone beyond that. Number four comes, which I am talking about is constructive feedback. Constructive feedback, if I have to give you example, let's say there is a performance. You go through the performance, you will find certain positive things happen in the performance, certain things where, one way of saying is that bad performance, or you may be where, there is a scope of improvement. So what happens, you start the meeting and then you give the feedback, what has gone positive in that particular quarter, what has gone positive in the performance. Not only you give that kind of feedback, you also ask the people how could they do that kind of a good work in that particular quarter. So what is happening, not only you are saying positive thing, you are also asking the people how they could do that good thing. So what happens, it creates an environment for the meeting. People feel that they are being valued. In fact, sometimes what happens, say ultimately people also know that performance has not happened.
Right.
But now if they are told straight away like that, meeting goes in a very different direction. But when they see, boss has looked into what has gone positive, so they start seeing value. That positive things are also being looked into. Not only looked into, they are also being asked what they have done to do that good thing. So that's create a very positive kind of environment. Number two, obviously there are some things where you have not done good performance. Rather saying, these are not a good performance and doing a blame, you may say these are the areas where you need a improvement. Again, you can ask people what has gone wrong, why they were not able to do a good job in that particular parameter.
Yeah.
Now, sometimes people may be able to explain you these are the reasons, which can be your external reason or internal reason. They will explain you. Sometimes they may also say, well, though we tried good, but we were not able to find what is the exact reason. Then you kind of do a brainstorm. And then you kind of give them a guidance, give them some reference. So what happens, in this case, you are given a positive feedback, you have taken a feedback from the people, you have talked about the, where are the gaps. You have also asked people what they feel, why are the gaps are there. You also give your, suggestion or guidance. And then obviously you kind of co-create a action plan. So this kind of a, constructive feedback brings up closeness, trustworthiness. People feel valued. They feel more accountable. They feel more motivated to do better. They become so charged to do better next time. Rather going out of the meeting like a, lost warriors, they go with a very positive mindset. So that is the beauty of that. It leads with a positive mindset. So that is why constructive feedback is important, not only in workplace, I'm saying even in your personal life also. If you're dealing with your siblings, you're dealing with your kids, anybody, the way you give feedback really matters.
That's really good to know. Okay, Mr. Rakesh, well, you being always into leadership positions with different organizations, so how the Mr. Rakesh will looks this, I mean, the responsive feedback, or like rather than the reactive feedback, how would you which would you recommend better?
See, I will say reactive feedback is a one-off time, it's like unavoidable. You have no choice but to give a very reactive feedback. But responsive feedback is very powerful and, recommended actually. Not only by my own experience, even if you do the research or if you do see the data and if you read the books, you'll find this responsive feedback is very, very important.
Okay.
So what happens, again, I give you an example.
Yeah.
So
So
let's say there are two people sitting and one person gives the feedback. And let's assume that feedback is not in favor of other person. One way of you can immediately be reactive. Be reactive. So what will happen? So it will again lead to that lack of trust, relationship issue. And actually there is no positive discussion happens because you have become reactive. Now if you are not reactive, and how you cannot be reactive? by having one very important technique which is called mindfulness. Being mindful that I don't have to be reactive.
Okay.
I have to be mindful that somebody has given me a feedback. Let me actually listen to it with an open mind. Listen actively to it, then pause for some time, think about it. What is the feedback given? So, what happens when you are thinking very coolly, positively? You may also realize that, oh, feedback was right. Feedback was right. So, because you are not reactive, and then obviously you take positive actions to correct it. Now, there can be one situation that feedback was right from the other person, but the way it was not communicated, not up to the mark. And if you believe that you need to go and communicate with that particular person, you can very well do that when you meet next time or maybe after some time. But just imagine if immediately you are reactive, one, you don't listen, you don't take any action, and then obviously you say whatever you want to say to the other person. But now what happens when you listen actively, you are responsible, you take action, but at the same time, you can go and tell the person, I got your feedback was valuable, but I found that it was, was not said in the appropriate manner. My request, please take care of that. Other person will also, will feel, or maybe will come back to you. Oh, I will take care of that. So that will again improve the relationship, trust. And ultimately, what is the objective of giving feedback? Something is not either okay or right, and you want to really progress on that. So, being responsive is very powerful, and one can do that by being mindful of that I don't have to be reactive.
That's really like great to know. What are the three strategies you like to share with somebody who are actually more towards on this reactive things, like how they like they can self help again, as you mentioned, right? Self help and being mindful is very important. What are the three things you would like to mention to those uh like to our audience who are struggling with this?
If you ask me if you have to really practice on it,
Okay,
and one thing you can be that keep timing yourself. When I'm saying mindful, maybe little technical for people. If I say in the layman language, just keep on telling yourself, somebody has given me the feedback. Let me give a time to listen to it. Let me really look into it.
yeah,
So that is the first thing you can do.
okay,
So being mindful that I don't have to be reactive. Second thing, once we have done it, pause for some time. Don't be in rush. Don't be in rush. Give your some time. In when you have specifically in case when you have that particular feedback has not gone in your favor or you're not feeling good about it.
mm,
Even if it can be other way also, somebody has given you a very good feedback and then you become overwhelmed. And then you may find that feedback was, kind of a sugar coated. It was not the right feedback and you became overwhelmed and you overcommitted to the other person out of that overjoy without realizing that feedback was what not right. It was sugar coated. It was had some bad intentions. So I'm not saying only in case of wrong feedback. I'm saying even in case of the positive feedback also, be mindful. Just give a pause, then go through that. What feedback has been given to you.
yeah,
And again, I keep on telling people it is a good practice if you can just journal it up. You can write it down somewhere and find out, what can be done, what can be improved, and if it's already acknowledged, then how can you sustain on that? Sometimes what happens, you had been given a good feedback. It becomes very important for you to sustain it to further grow on that.
of course. That's really good to know, Mr. Rakesh. Thank you so much for solving this, because this is the major issues which I've seen always people have been struggling with the constructive feedback, and of course the reactive and responsive, because many of the senior leaders even get confused, and many of the executive associates also get confused that whether it's good to be a responsive or be a reactive at a situation. So, how a senior leader leverage the power of communication or in his personal and the professional life, Mr. Rakesh?
So Shantanu, when you say how a senior leader, if you ask me any individual irrespective of level,
Okay.
uh, has to really look into communication in their personal and professional life. Uh, See, communication is something which kind of bridge between two people or among people, among society or among anywhere. So communication plays a very important role. So I'll give you very good example of communication. So one communication we can look into, I say it's a three-way loop kind of a thing.
Okay.
So when I say communication, it is one, you communicate, then you connect, and then you get engaged.
I see.
Yeah. So communication is not simply a communication. So again, I think it will be good if I give you example on this. Let's say, as a leader, you want to initiate a change. So what happens? You will start with the communication where we will communicate. And the communication can be done either by email, WhatsApp, or by sending a hard copy, whatever is suitable to you. So that is the first part. So that is done. Number two, you connect. So now you may call people, or you may meet some stakeholders, important people, one-to-one basis, and tell that this is what we are going to do. These are the changes we are going to do. Number three part is the engagement part. And this is where, it has been found that major failure happens. And then you does not get the results or impact which you expected from that particular communication. Because every communication has some intent, has some purpose. But unless that intent and purpose is understood by the other people, how will the process happen? How the things will start. So that is what is called engagement part. So engagement part, if you ask me, out of this is plays around 70% role.
I see.
So you have communicated that you want to do a change, you have connected with people. Third parties, you engage with people, where you demonstrate people why this particular change is being done, how it is going to help people in short term or long term, what will be the benefits for them, and also listen to them actively if they have any concern. Because what happens whenever you plan some changes, I'm just giving an example of a change that people get curious, people get anxiety, sometimes people get motivated also. So you have to know what is going on in their mind about that particular change being done. So when you listen to them, you may also find some suggestions being given them. If you feel that suggestions are valid and it is possible to incorporate, you can incorporate.
Great.
So, but what happens when you do the engagement part? Other people also get insight of what actually is the behind that particular communication. What is the purpose of that? And the moment people get to their heart, their participation level goes more than 100%. And the moment they are doing the participation, automatically you will find things go very smoothly. So that is one part. So communicate, connect, and engage. Spend maximum time in engagement, which can be in the group meetings, it can be one-to-one basis, and spend quality time in that for the success of communication you have done. Number two part is, communication, if it is one of the, very good law of NLP, in fact, because I am also an NLP practitioner. So we say you cannot not communicate. You cannot not communicate.
You cannot not communicate.
Not communicate.
That's really good insight for an audience.
So what does that mean? So let's say when I'm talking to you, it has three parts.
Okay.
One, the kind of words I'm using with you. Tone of the words I'm using with you. And my facial expressions, my signs, how I'm demonstrating to you, how I'm looking to you, something like that. So there are three parts. Now, scientifically, it has been proven that that particular part, word, it is around 72%. That kind of influence it has on the people, 7 to 8%.
Okay.
Tone is 33%.
Okay.
And can you believe that your body language, your expressions, face expressions, 55%. And that is why I said you cannot not communicate. So even if I'm not talking to you, let's say I'm just keeping quiet. So what is happening? You can see my smiling face. By seeing my smiling face also, you can see what is going in my mind.
Of course.
Right. At the same time, it becomes very, very important if there is a disconnect. I am using a word, let's say I am saying I am very happy. Though I am saying I am very happy, but the way I am saying, it does not do that I am happy, and it looks like I am very angry. Right? So if people see there is a disconnect between the kind of words being used, the tone of the words, and the body language, if they see the disconnect, then they don't believe you actually. There can be exception, where by virtue of situation you have to, maybe you are in a very sad condition, but you can't show people that. That can be a one-off situation.
Of course.
But if you have to really build a relationship, trust with the people, they can see a connect between what kind of words you are using, what is the tone of your words, and what actually you are demonstrating through your body posture, your body language. So this is again, other way of looking into communication, and it plays very important role. It also plays important role as a leader. If I talk about, let's say you are sitting in the meeting. Many a times, you will find that out of 25 people, only 5 people will be talking. 20 people will be only keeping quiet. But by seeing their face expression, their body language, all you can also make out, what is going on. So as a leader, if you are able to develop a skill set where you can read what is going in the people, even if they are not talking to you. And that can happen if you spend time with them. Sometimes you will find that people are not talking, but you can see by reading their face, their body posture, the conduct, you will find, either these people are connected, these people are not connected. So this particular communication, if you really understand psyche of this, it really helps you as an individual, as a leader.
That's really a very helpful thought process which you have given actually with your experience towards a leadership and NLP both. And it's really going to help a lot. And thank you so much, Mr. Rakesh, for giving your precious time with this the podcast series what we are creating for the leaders, not even leaders actually. Yeah, but for everybody who is actually facing the challenges to this professional and personal life. Thank you so much again for giving your precious time for this.
My pleasure, Shantanu, for your time as well.